Hi, everybody. Eve Harrow, Rejuvenation on the Land of Israel Network. I'm sitting in the middle of Jerusalem on a beautiful day, having a cup of coffee with Nati Rom, who I've been following actually for a while. Finally got him because this is a busy man. He's a lawyer. He lives in Esh Kodesh outside of Shiloh. He is also the founder of Lev HaOlam, which I know some of you, because I know some of you who are listening to this, some of you get those wonderful packages every month, the surprises from Judea and Samaria. So we've got a lot to talk about. Nati, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
All right, so let's start with you. So what's your personal story?
Oh wow. So I was born and raised in Israel, in Petach Tikva, next to, in the beginning in the kibbutz and then in Petach Tikva, to a beautiful family with a lot of ideology in their life. They did a lot for Israel. And when I was 16, I felt I want to do a little bit more for Israel, and I quit school, and I went to Yeshivat Ramat Gan. It was a Hasidish yeshiva. We learned it was a new thing that we are going to try to reaching out in the center of Israel, and also I wanted to be more connected to the land of Israel. So I started to be active in pioneering and establishing new villages, including Efrat. I always say to the people of Efrat that I was sleeping. First time I was arrested was when I was sleeping on the rocks in a sleeping bag in Efrat. Now today we have beautiful homes over there.
Mine is one of them.
I try to connect myself to my purpose, to God, to the covenant, to the land of Israel.
Mm-hmm. How did your family take this?
It wasn't easy, especially when I quit school. I ruined my future, as we say. So it was tough, but my good parents believe in me. I'm sure it was tough. Today, as a parent, I also realize how difficult it can be. Mm-hmm. But Baruch Hashem.
So in the article, there's a very big article on Nati in Makor Rishon, which is this amazing paper that comes out only in Hebrew, unfortunately. Then most of you guys can't read it, but I discuss it a lot. A few weeks ago, and it said that he says in there that he became a lawyer to give his mother a little bit of nachat, like a little bit of joy from him. I'm sure that's a slight exaggeration.
Yeah, I did a lot of troubles to my family. My great family, and thanks God, when I went to law school, it was I always said that I was arrested so many times on the Temple Mount because I prayed or on the hilltops of Judea and Samaria. I didn't have any more money for lawyers, so I became a lawyer myself. So it was for my family. For me, when I went there, I finished also in excellency. I have to say, in a very good level. I was like first in class. We were the three best students, and I have a special. On my wall, I have a special, a note.
Certificate of excellence.
Yes, and I gave it to my mother.
Good. Okay. Hey, everyone's hearing this? Make your mothers happy. Okay, that's the message over here. Yeah. So you said you were arrested. You were one of the Hilltop Youth, and first of all, you explained that's a term that's bandied about a lot. The Hilltop Youth, and they're getting in trouble, and they're getting arrested, and they're doing this and doing that. You were one of them. You're now defending some of them. But tell us a little bit. What is this tofa'ah, this thing of Hilltop Youth?
I see it as a very positive tofa'ah, a very positive thing. Teenagers, and the age is going down and down with people with a lot of love to the Torah, a lot of love to this land, who are taking what they were taught in their homes, taking it the next step. They realize the Bible is not only stories to say to your fairy tales to your friends and to your children, but something you want to live with. Not only to be religious, but to be a real believer who is going with his believers, going with his shlichut, with his mission up to the end. And people are taking very, very seriously. It's also have some pathologies, because when you are in Judea and Samaria in a hilltop alone, without any supervisor, and sometimes you come from a family who doesn't know how to deal with this situation. So there are things that we need to help them to go in the right direction. But in basic, it's a very special thing. Unfortunately, today, Judea and Samaria, we need the sovereignty, and those people, those teenagers, cannot suffer. They are young, and they cannot understand why a Jew cannot pray in the Temple Mount, why a Jew cannot sit down in a sleeping bag on the hilltop in Judea and Samaria in his forefathers' home, and they are upset from this. And there are a lot of bad things. Also, the police treat them also in a very bad way. Myself, I was arrested so many times. I know what happened to me. I know what policemen did to me against the law, by the way. And this is why I took it as a mission to be a lawyer and to protect every Jew or non-Jew who is working and arrested only because he did something God told him to do. You know, we were raised in school in the stories of the heroes who blow the shofar in the Kotel. People, teenagers, 12 and 13 years old children, it wasn't allowed to blow the shofar. The British didn't allow it in the Kotel. And Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, what you do, you blow the shofar. Small children, 12 and 13 years old children, go to the Kotel in the right moment. They hide themselves behind the talit, the shawls of the Kohanim, and they blow the shofar. This is what I was taught in the schools, and I wanted to be like this child. And sometimes they were arrested and put in jail in the Kishle, in Jaffa Gate. Until today, the police, there is a jail over there, and I represent a lot of the children. All the children who are arrested in Temple Mount are arrested there. And I felt that, you know, I want to be like these children who blow the shofar spiritually and physically, blow the shofar and didn't have any problem and doubt. Even if it wasn't legal, they know this is what God wants from them and this is what they will do. Mm-hmm. So I was, in some way, we are continuing the Zionist movement, and our history of our forefathers who came here didn't care about laws or foreigner laws, but only about the Bible and our vision and our covenant with this land and this place. So every Jew who is arrested, not because he stole from somebody, but because he wanted to bring back to himself the rights, basic human rights. We speak all the time about human rights, right? All those big anti-Semitic organizations who are in this new sky of human rights. So let's speak about human rights. What about freedom of speech and movement and prayer in the most holy place for Israel in Jerusalem? This is a privilege for me to protect those rights, and I consider myself a lawyer who deal with human rights in human rights daily of Jewish people in their homeland.
So there are some people who will say, and I'm sure say to you all the time, doing what God told you is a very, very big door. I mean, we have Muslims who will say, well, God told me I should blow myself up. So how do you frame that to say, okay, it has to be like blowing shofar is obviously not equal to blowing yourself up for God. But every religion is going to interpret what they do for God in their own way. And how does that get maintained in some kind of Western society? Not everybody can go and do what they think God tells them to do.
So let's face it from the two sides. One, Western society, one of the first things God do with Israel when they are coming inside the Holy Land of Israel is the covenant in the two mountains, Har Gerizim and Har Eival in Shechem, in what's called today Nablus. And it's a very simple message. 6 tribes go to Ar Bracha, to the blessing mountain. 6 tribes are going to the curse mountain. And there is a covenant. If you behave and you follow the Torah, you receive salary. If not, God forbid the opposite. One of the biggest message of this covenant, who was like the first ceremony, the first covenant when the people of Israel came to Eretz Israel, was to distinguish between good and bad. So to blow the shofar, it's good. To blow yourself and kill children and women and men, it's bad, regardless which God name in which name of God you talk. So what we are speaking about, it's the right, it's the truth, it's the moral Torah. And a religion who teach to hate and to kill it's not moral, it's not good. So this is the first thing. Second, of course, we are doing this. We are not in anarchy, and this is the other side. We are trying to bring some sovereignty in Judea and Samaria, and to bring the judge system and the parliament to bring the right laws. If the parliament didn't realize until today that it's important to protect the human rights of the Jewish people in the Temple Mount, we need to help them to do that. You need to understand, it's a privilege for me to be a part of this, try to be a part of this movement. For 70 years, religious Zionism, as we call it, didn't invest in the law system. The other side, the left secular movement, movement work very hard to conquer the judgment, how do you say, like the organization, and to bring back, and to be they are today the kings of this land. And regardless which parliament you choose, regardless which prime minister, the government from the right, but yet the Supreme Court is voiding all their laws. So we need to invest, and this is something we don't do enough. And this is something we are working very, very hard to do. We don't have a lot of budget for it. The left organizations give millions of euros from tax money of a lot of your listeners from Switzerland and from Norway and from Germany. They are number one, and many other countries in the United States. They give money to lawyers to fight against everything which Jewish in Israel in the Supreme Court. And we, unfortunately, don't do enough in the other side. So we are trying to raise awareness and money and efforts to do the same thing for Israel and to start to work. People are crying when places are demolished. The parliament is demolishing places in Judea and Samaria. Nobody really fight it in court. So we need to do those changes. It's a long battle, and we need to start to do it.
So just actually earlier this morning, I spoke to a group of students at the Begin Center. They were also hearing from someone from Peace Now, who is one of these organizations that you're talking about here. And one of the questions that they asked me was, how come these kids sometimes get violent, these hilltop youth? One of the things that I said is, first of all, it's very, very few of them. Really, very few of them. Most of them are really good kids who are lost to some degree. But I said, you have to understand they have a lot of frustration. They're seeing a double standard here. They're seeing hypocrisy. Across the way from where they live, there are Arab homes, mansions going up, Arabs driving in unbelievable cars on the road. And these are supposedly the poor people and the downtrodden people, while the Jews can't even enclose a porch without it going to the General Assembly of the UN. And there's what you talk about here, the basic human rights are, they see in a Jewish country that the Jews are actually on the downside of it, and there's incredible frustration, and these kids are pointing to a truth, which is it's not fair, there's a double standard. So what's interesting about you is you're not a hypocrite. So you are not just representing the Jewish kids who feel like their rights are trampled on. What you're known for is also, you have Arab clients. So tell my listeners a little bit about that.
Of course, listen, always people need not to be confused. People speak about right and left. A lot of those left organizations who are fighting against Israel in many, many ways and against the Jewish state of Israel, they don't really like Arabs. They don't have any relationship with them. They don't want any relationship with them. It's all hypocrisy. The guys who sit down with Arabs for a coffee and have a real conversation, it's more many of the settlers and many of our people. So, and this is a good example what you just brought up. We have the privilege to represent 52 Arabs. Nobody wanted to represent them. Even the state of Israel didn't take care enough of them. Those people were helping Israel by preventing terror attacks in Israel. They save life of innocents, of children, of women, of men, and we have a moral chov, a debt to them, to help them, and nobody helped them. Those people.
Well, why did they need help? They were going to be killed by other Arabs?
Exactly. After they help Israel, the so-called PLO, the Palestinian authorities, kidnapped them and put them in jail. So you cannot even call it a jail. It was, a real tortures. Reals. 50% of them cannot bring children to this world because their torturers make sure and told them they will not be able to bring real ones. Like in the movie, it's too tough. After you read 100 pages, it's thousands of pages, but when you read even after 3 pages, you cannot continue to read it. It's awful. They have a real tortures like you imagine, even worse than that. Some of them were raped and killed during this area. And we have the privilege to take this case. We also have the privilege to receive a verdict of 2,000 pages, the longest verdict in Israel that proved that we were right. And those 52 poor Arabs were kidnapped and tortured. And we needed a lot of money to bring doctors to examine them for the lawsuit. And we started to write letters to 230 human rights organizations registered in Israel. Help us, including some organization that the word torture is inside their logo, Mm-hmm. But for some reason, nobody wanted to help. 230 organizations didn't want to help, except a few of them, as Regavim and Chonenu and so on. So this is an hypocrisy. Those human rights organizations are not human rights organizations. They are doing everything they can to fight Israel. But once Here we are speaking about real torturers, of people who try to save life. Nobody want to help them. We had a debate with Amnesty, who did a big embargo against Israel, and the host of the TV channel said to them, why you do embargo on Israel? He said, we are the biggest human rights organization in Israel. Don't fight us, fight. So then they put me on air and they tell me, what about this case? Why you don't help? So the representative of Amnesty said, we don't have the means. We don't have the means to help. The biggest human rights organization, who putting millions of euros, everything he can against Israel, don't have the means to help those poor Arabs. So of course we are the real peace seekers. We pray for peace 3 times a day. Every time I imagine how real peace will come to the world, but every time tax money of people from all over the world go to terrorists who are sitting in Israeli jails against of Israeli international laws, we are going one step back from peace. This is not peace. The real peace will come when, as Golda Meir always said, when the Arabs will love the children more than hate us, and will stop to brainwash their children.
So you mentioned we. What's your organization called?
So it's mainly me. We have an organization called Or Ami, on the name of the first husband of my wife. My wife was 19 years old and 9 months pregnant when her first husband was killed in the last day of the war, of the Second Lebanon War, in a very brave attack. He received the badge of honor for it. Ami Meshulami, Hashem Yimkom Damo. One of 17 brothers and sisters, live in Gaza Strip, in Netzarim, in 2 caravans, a big hero. And 3 weeks after this, my wife had the birth of her first daughter.
So you married a war widow and adopted her daughter. You're raising her as your own?
Yeah. Baruch Hashem, Rebbe did a shidduch, and we are raising. We have 6 kids. So the organization Or Ami, it's in the name of the first husband of my wife, and also Or Ami. You know, we are speaking about be light for the nations, and not like the nations. There are many people in Israel who want to be like the nations, who want to live in Berlin because the milk is cheaper than here. Zionism, especially as a secular movement, is dying. You see that the second and third generation of the real Zionist movement in the beginning of Israel, they are not interested anymore. You want to live in Uganda, you want to live in Israel, whatever, just we want to be like the nations. But here it's a new generation of people who are, it's a new comma, a new floor, a new stage in redemption time, to bring Zionism to a holy level, to somebody who is very, very connected to the Torah, who is like not only something you do by case, but something who is meant to be, and to bring Mashiach and to bring redemption to this world. So we are in very, very strong work and mission to do whatever we can in all the aspects, in Eretz Israel, in Am Yisrael, in the Torah, and to bring redemption to this world. So we have Or Ami, and this is where we are trying to do the legal work and to do. We have a tree plant project, especially. The Arabs have a project called Roots. They are planting trees. Many people don't know about it. They take trees from the A territory and they put it in C territory, in Israeli territories. They're trying to conquer the next step of Israel. And nobody is fighting this, and this is why it's important for us to hold the land, the government and for Israel. And we are putting trees in the mountains of Samaria and Judea, and we have the privilege to be a part of the prophecies and a part of this stage. We also, of course, have the Lev HaOlam organization, where my wife and I, around 8 or 9 years ago, we opened an organization called Lev HaOlam, the heart of the world. I speak Italian and French, so many tourists came to us. We started, I live in a car, and then in a cave, and in a tent, in hilltops, next to Shiloh. And people came to see us, and slowly we started to speak to them and to open our doors also to people from abroad, and also to people who doesn't think like us. It was important for us not only to be connected to the land of Israel, but also to be connected to the people of Israel and to all the humanity. Because our work, it's not only for us; it's a work for all. Chol Ha'amim. My house will be called the house of prayer for all the nations. And it was important for us to spread it and to do a grassroots movement of people that will be in a connection with us, a direct connection with us.
So what is Lev HaOlam? What do you do physically?
Lev HaOlam, it's a grassroots movement, and we are selling, they are trying to boycott Judea and Samaria producers and products, and we are selling and supporting those producers from the front line. We do a direct connection between people who love Israel all over the world and the pioneers from Judea and Samaria. And it's even more than buying product, it's about connection. People subscribe to a package, they receive every month a package with beautiful bounty of Judea and Samaria and Israel, with the story, the personal story of the people, and we give income. The best thing is to do is to give the income to the people, to the producers who are overwhelmed of thousands of orders that we do for them every month. They can establish their businesses. It's amazing to see our people are starting to live and to work and to bring their neighbors also to work, because one of the things we need here also, it's more workplaces. And, people like to help, but, the best way, if you see how important is the work of the heartland of Israel in Judea and Samaria, you are so unique. You're like the Maccabim, like the Gideon soldiers that don't waste your energy and time and do exactly that, because the only few people can see this and understand. Our enemies see it. You see how the UN and the EU is fighting Judea and Samaria. I saw many times when it's difficult times, I said to my wife, look, all the world is speaking about places that we established, want to demolish my home, want to demolish villages that I established. This is a good sign that we can understand that we are doing the right thing. And we need supporters of Israel from all over the world, Jews and non-Jews, to reunite with us and to be connected. Also, one of the best things that I do, I give my private number, the people will be connected with us on WhatsApp. And we are sending good news and bad news. Yesterday we had a vineyard was destroyed in the night. Nobody knew about that and went to spread it. A lot of terror cases that nobody knows, a lot of good things that nobody knows. And this one of the first steps is to go behind the lies of them and the fake news and the lies of the media and to do a direct connection. I always say also Jewish, my brothers and sisters, Jewish people from all over the world, they are coming to Israel for Pesach. There's in King David, in Mamila, and they sometimes come with their bulletproof bus to Judea and Samaria and say, Kol HaKavod, I like mitnachalim, Kol HaKavod, I like the settlers, go for it. But then there is no real connection. And so something that I feel very, very much, we need this connection. Also, it's a real connection because we are working for something for all the universe, Tikkun Olam, a real Tikkun Olam. We are a real alternative to bring a real redemption. We are following steps of our forefathers, of our Torah. And we need everybody that God spoke to him and understand this truth to join us.
And we see the prophecies unfolding in front of our eyes. It's unbelievable. It's really almost frightening to see. You open the prophets and you see them talking about, like as a tour guide, I see all these nations walking around. I see people from Nigeria, people speaking Portuguese from Brazil. And I think to myself, oh my goodness, I don't even know if the prophets understood what they were saying when they were saying it. And I'm seeing it happening in front of my eyes. But as somebody who travels a lot in Judea and Samaria and Judea and Samaria and does, and this is why I'm so connected to what you're saying, tries to connect people to people. And what you do with Lev HaOlam, just to explain, I have been to places, let's say in Steibar, and I'm speaking to Nachum, and he's telling me that he just packaged 4,000 little bottles, little jars of buttermilk or whatever it is, because he got an order from you. Or I'm up in Itamar, and I'm talking to Batya Erdstein, who makes beautiful ceramics, and she's telling me, oh, I just made 4,000, I don't know, whatever it was, little tea candle holders, whatever it was. She said, because Nati ordered 4,000. First of all, it picks them up financially, because it's not so easy, and as you said, the BDS. But not only that, they know that in a couple of weeks, 4,000 homes around the world are getting a piece of them, are getting something that they created, something that they did with love, something that they want to connect with. And I don't know, I assume you realize how important this is. And it's really something tremendous. And I go around and see people say that to me this all the time. Yeah, Nati. The soaps, Keshet, the Sabonetto and Kochav HaShachar, who started a business because his son had Down syndrome. He was also thrown out of Gush Katif. His son has Down syndrome. He wants to have a company for his son to work in. And he's got a little company making soaps for kids who are disabled. It's what you have done, what you and your wife have done, is amazing, and I really want to recommend to everybody who's listening to this, how do they, if they want a package, how do they connect with you?
So they go to our website or Facebook, join us in Facebook. We have a page Nati Rom and we have a page Lev HaOlam. join us. It's all over there, all the information. We have also a website. Yes, it's amazing to see the producers of Judea and Samaria were attacked and boycotted from all over the world. You mentioned Samboneto. This guy, his home was demolished in Etzarim, in Gush Katif. He came when I first met him. He didn't have nothing. He didn't know what to do. He came to Samaria to start all over again. As you mentioned, he have a Down syndrome son, and he was thinking about how I can do something also for my income and also to give work to my son and his friends. And it was a small container. We didn't know even how to market his thing. And we said, okay, we will buy thousands of your products. And we have the privilege, Baruch Hashem, we have the big privilege from Hashem to be able to give parnasa, to give income to those people. And this is a part of our also redemption in this land. When we were 4 young boys after the military and we went to the mountains of Samaria, it was so dreary. There was nothing there. Everything was empty, and we even didn't believe that we will manage to do what we did. There was no roads. It's crazy days, and we lived there without electricity, without water for you. From those 4 teenagers, you see that thousands of people are there now, and hundreds of family and children, and we see the feeling of the prophecies in front of our eyes, and we also need to go to the next stage to connect all our brothers and sisters in the world need to be connected with that. If you are connected, we need to also to act. People like to say, "Oh, I love Israel. We pray for Israel. I will pray for you daily." This is not enough. Our enemies is not only praying against us, they are very actively working against us. In all their hearts, time and energy and money, they are working against Israel. We need people to join us. We can win this. As the Gideon soldiers, as the Maccabim, we can banish this darkness from the world, but we need the light people to join us and to be connected. This is the secret. I really believe in connection. I had a guy, a Reform rabbi from New York, who called me that he is in a week now in Bethlehem, in Ramallah, and he also wanted to spend a day with me. He tried to go to other people. Nobody wanted to host him. He was afraid from this meeting. And I also was skeptical in the beginning. You go for a whole week to hear the Arab narrative, and then you come for 1 day for me. I don't know. But it sounds good, and I wanted to meet him. So we met, and we became good friends. And I discovered that a lot of his congregation love Israel and don't know enough about Israel maybe, but they love Israel. They're real Zionists, many of them. And it's important to do those connections. It's important to do it in front of our brothers and sisters and also with people from all over the world. I travel once in a month to different places all over the world. As a part of this, as I see that how it's important to gather everybody and to make close connection and direct connection, I'm traveling once in a month to other places all over the world. And it's unbelievable to find people from all over the world, from different point of views, different background, Jewish and non-Jewish, religious and not religious, who have a big heart for Israel. And this is something amazing. It's also something very prophetic in my eyes, and it's something to see people who are keeping Shabbat. I drive once an hour for a meeting. Inside there was nothing there, and they receive a package of Lev HaOlam, and they do Shabbat. And a woman who asked me if I can put a Ner Zikaron, a special candle for a memorial candle, because they don't own matzot for Pesach. They don't have. It's like a beautiful, beautiful project, and I like those connections. I think we don't have the millions that our enemies have. Enemies of Israel have billions. Billions of people and billions of money also from all over the world, from all the anti-Semitic world who is trying, it's a whole story. Everybody is fighting us, but we have a lot of people who love Israel, and together we can do such a big change and to do a real tikkun olam.
Not the Michael Lerner tikkun olam out of Berkeley. Yeah, but really making the world a better place. How do you decide where to go? People invite you? Do you come to conferences?
Yeah, people invite us to come to speak. I just came back from Texas and from Germany and Philippines and Singapore. We always happy. Especially me, my wife don't like it so much that I'm traveling now, but I'm doing it short. So I'm always happy to go and to meet face to face. And I think our work, it's amazing to see how people wake up. People wake up to action, and we need to start to grow the grassroots to be a big a forest of army who want to join Israel and to be partners with us in the path that we are walking.
as you travel around the world, do you see that there's anti-Semitism in those places? It's clear that there's anti-Semitism against Israel, and a lot of my listeners know that a lot of what poses as anti-Zionism or we just don't like Israel is really anti-Semitism in its new modern guise. But what are you seeing when you go out to these places? Because like what I see when I go to these places is I'm afraid for people out there. There's something, so I'm older than you are by not such a little, and when I was growing up, you didn't feel this. I didn't feel this in the 70s. Now that I'm feeling things that people, you have a kippah on, do you feel free walking around with your kippah wherever you go? Because there's certain places that the Jews, many places where the Jews aren't feeling so comfortable doing that anymore. Or like we see what happened in Pittsburgh, and maybe it was a one-off thing, maybe it wasn't. What's your sense from when you go out, the atmosphere there?
Okay, so first of all, I'm going with a kippah and I have peot, long peot. I cannot hide my identity and I like it. I can tell you a nice story. When the first time I went to the States, somebody told me, be careful in the night, especially in certain areas in Harlem and stuff. And I went to I had a meeting in Harlem in the night, and once I go out from the sub, I immediately somebody see me and he said to me, "Hey, yo!" And as I was told, I don't reply, don't do eye connection, right? And I'm going a little bit faster, and he's going after me and shouting more. I was hoping he don't shout on me. I was walking away, hey, yo, man. And then I said, what? And he said to me, nice hairstyle. I like your hairstyle.
Well, you thought the people were like Rasta or something? Very cute.
Yeah, but the guy, so I feel there is anti-Semitic. There are places like in Norway, I mean, and also in Germany, and also in the States. I have a few things, and also people who following me and try to, many times when I come to speak, they are doing a protest against me. And Nati Rom, don't come back. When I came back from speaking in the Parliament of the EU, I spoke there about the BDS and about Israel, and there was a whole manifest against us, even with violence. But I was in the army. I'm not. I mean, this is what I feel proud. I feel proud, and it's sad to see all especially the Jewish people around me in the communities who are afraid, and say, "Wow, you don't put a casket maybe or something." And I say, "No, this is who I am, and this is how I want to go." But I hope the people of Israel will come back to the Holy Land, not because of anti-Semitic, because they want to be a part of its redemption, and hopefully only with good news they are coming. But of course, we feel, you go to places today in Paris, in Europe, that you feel like in the Kasbah in Hebron.
There's that many Muslims there. So, of course, we're in the lead up, just a couple months away to Israeli election. So I wanted to ask you, are you politically involved here in Israel? And do you think that a lot of the things you're doing is despite the government or with the government? Like, we're in a democracy, and obviously that's incredibly important to all of us. But as you said at the beginning of the interview, there's certain things that we have to coach the powers that be in order to realize what has to be done, especially in Judea and Samaria, which has been left in this like amorphous bubble of nobody really taking responsibility like they should for the past 50 years, both of the Jews and of the Arabs living there. So how are you working? You working within the political system here, or how are you belong to a party? Can you talk about that? I know a lot of my American listeners will be shocked that I'm asking about politics, because there it's taboo. You can't talk about it. Here we talk about it. We talk freely. We disagree. We yell at each other. But we say what we believe in. So where do you sit with that?
So I don't really believe in politics. I was trying to not to work in this field. We have a lot now. It's election time. We have a lot of people who are coming to us once in a month. We have the Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We have the President Rubi Rivlin. We have a lot of ministers, the chairman and the spokesman of the Knesset who came.
We're coming to where? To where you live? To Shiloh? Or coming to meet with you?
To visit us, to visit our project, and to endorse us. They also every month we have another minister. Prime Minister who is writing a letter to our partners and supporters from all over the world. Thank for them, and they are helping us to do the packages project also. So we have a lot of influence and help and connection today, also in the political area. But as I said today, one of the biggest problems we have that people are not connected to religious, or not connected to, don't have the spine, of the Torah. Ariel Sharon, one of our biggest friends. One of us who worked with us and told us go to every hilltop heritage the land. In the end, he sold us all out. So we see that the majority of the problems happen when the right government was in the regime. So especially it's to do the work as a grassroots movement, and to do the work also in the judgment. כתוב ציון במשפט תיפדה. Zion will be redeemed by judgment. As we see today, the democracy is damaged by a very active court. Supreme Court in Israel is a very left court, one of the unique active court in the world, who is not chosen in a democratic way, and is voiding democratic laws. So we need to act in this field very, very. It's very important to invest money and time in this, and this is what we are trying to do. Also, politics; those are vassals for us to bring redemption and to continue our work. But we are here with the politics of Hashem, to say this is our land, this is our heritage, our connection to this land is not like the connection of Italian to Italy or so on. It's much more deeper than that. We don't occupy this land as the guys from the US for 242 years. We occupy this land of thousands of years since God said to Abraham, this is the land I will give to you and to your descendants. So it's another politics. It's and also about democracy. We are pro-democracy and we are we need one of the biggest thing is to have judgments and to have laws, but we need to fix also this, and we need to do it in the right way. We need to teach Torah to ourselves, to our neighbors, to the non-Jewish people all over the world, and to be the real moral, the moral of Hashem, to all over the world.
So I have to ask you, out of total curiosity, how is it that you speak fluent French and Italian, in addition to English and obviously Hebrew?
English is the most interesting. I watch a lot of movies.
Okay. It's amazing how many Israelis tell me they learn their English from television and from movies. Not in class, but from the media. Okay.
Yeah. So this is my English. French was the language of secrets of my parents. So it was one of my first languages that I learned. And in Italy, I was in.
They were trying to speak French you wouldn't understand, and that's why you picked it up.
Yeah,
nice.
I picked it up very, very early, and I was a few years in Italy in Shlichut.
All right. No, because I have a son who's living in Italy. He's studying medicine in Italy because we have affirmative action here. And so a lot of the Arabs get into the spaces and a lot of the Israeli Jews after the army end up going to Europe. So, but he was told when he had to learn Italian, of course, he's studying in English, but he had to learn Italian because you have to go shopping and deal with patients. He was said, okay, this is the language that will serve you only in Italy and if you go to Libya, which we're not recommending. And outside of that, nobody really speaks Italian. So it's nice. When he comes to visit, I'll send him to you and he can speak Italian. So are you optimistic, let's say for your children? When, that is the big before and after. Definitely for my life, I have 7 children, you have 6. Once you become a parent, the world is completely different. The future looks completely different because you want to leave a better world for your children, even if it's picking up the garbage, but definitely when it's a Jewish world and a safe world in Israel, the stakes are much higher. Are you optimistic for your children's world, or are you concerned?
Yes, I'm very, very optimistic. First of all, because I know as a believer, I know what will be the end. The end will be beautiful, and we are all waiting for it. And now we need to work that the way for that into this will be sweet and beautiful also. I'm very optimistic, and this is what I'm trying to teach my children. Also, the teenagers that I represent, this is something very, very deep that I'm trying to say to them, that not everything is in our hand, and this world it's not easy, but there is a lot of sweetness, and also to spread this love, this real love to our children, to our brothers and sisters. This connection to the people, it's also so important, not less the connection to the land. It's all together. And this is something very, very important. And I have optimism, when we go back to see those 4 young boys who took a car and didn't shower for years, for weeks.
One of them being you, that's what you're saying. He showered now, I can guarantee you.
I wasn't married yet, so and we did, and to see now what we accomplished, it's amazing. Come Shiloh, come to visit us. I invite you all to come to Esh Kodesh. Go write Lev HaOlam in Waze. You will see in Google Map. You will see my place. You can call me 972-52-566-5660. Be in touch through WhatsApp and come to visit and see in your eyes what teenagers with a lot of dreams and holy dreams from the Bible to come to redeem the land with the help of God, what we accomplished. It's amazing. It's amazing. There is a lot of frustration, and it's tough. It's tough to see your brothers and sisters killed, and nobody's paying the price. And terrorists receive salaries and prizes because they kill us and hate Israel. And to see our brothers and sisters suffering. And today, it's to see the Arab children and our women and our men harvesting, playing walking in the streets of Judea and Samaria without any fear in their heart, as normal life should be.
Yeah.
And I am jealous when I see my children goes to school with a bulletproof cars, and I see their children go on donkeys, as I see and as I dream my children goes, and they cannot do that because they will risk their life. For me, it's such a disgrace, such a shame, and we feel a lot of time alone. But we need, we need to see the nice way of the life, and to believe that God is doing it for a purpose, and God is good, and everything, everything is for good, real. And we are praying to see this goodness now and here, and we have a role, and we need to bring this goodness and to help to help God to bring in quotes help God to do the work here. We were created to choose good and to spread good and to bring Mashiach. And this is what we need to do. And this is not only a sentence that we say or pray. This is something we need to think every day how to do it. Mm-hmm. And those beautiful people, pioneers in Judea and Samaria, in the heartland, in the core of Israel, in the front line, they are our commando units. And you need to choose. Do you want to be a partner with those commando units? You can be a partner with those people from all over the world. If you are in Norway, if you are in the States, whatever, you can be partners with us in many, many ways. In prayer, in thinking, in action, in supporting, whatever. But be a part of this, because this is something big. And this is something very, very optimistic. And we can see that how more and more people join our causes.
You can just be a bystander to what's going to happen in history, or you can actually help hold the pen. And that is absolutely a huge difference. So one last question, because a lot of Israelis are off the whole two-state solution. I know a lot of the world is still lagging behind, and they're still on that particular idea. But a lot of Israelis, left, right, and center, realize we have no partner, and there's nothing to talk about right now. What would be you talked about Israel putting sovereignty on Judea and Samaria. So everybody's got different ideas about exactly what alternatives could be. Do you have like a particular idea when you go out to speak? Is there like one idea that you give, or you just give a general, like we can't continue with what we're doing right now, we have to deepen that?
We need the most simple solution for peace. It's to distinguish, as we said before, to distinguish between good and bad. To put terrorists in jail and to stop finance them, and to give prize to pioneers and good people who are spreading real peace in this place, and to punish the people who are bad and trying to fight people. This will bring peace. As as I said before, God Meir said, the real peace will come, the Arabs will love the children more than they hate us. But it's so simple than that. Israel, the two-state solution, I don't know if all our listeners knows that Israel, to go from the north place to the south place, it's around 5 hours by car, and the wide it's around 1.5 hours. It's such a tiny place. You cannot even, you
can't get lost.
You cannot even do two village solutions. So of course not two-state solution. And this is why my solution is that everybody wants to love Israel and to live here in peaceful. Is welcome, and everybody wants to kill us and doesn't agree with the states of Israel and the Jewish states in Israel need to leave.
So what about the people in the middle? Let's say that not all the Arabs who live in Judea and Samaria are terrorists. They might not stop the terrorism, but maybe they themselves aren't terrorists. What do we do with them? We give them citizenship. We encourage them to go. We have a confederation with Jordan. What do we do? Because everyone will say, no, if you don't, then it's an apartheid state. And, we hear this all the time.
Peace is coming from the grassroots, not from above. Oslo agreement are not a peace process. It's crazy to put signs on the Arab village and to write the interest for Israel is forbidden and dangerous to your life. This is not peace. This is racism. And real peace will come from grassroots. Real peace will come by financing real peace and educational, especially to the Arab side, who is teaching the children to hate Israel. I always say to my children, they ask me after terror attacks, they ask me how all the Arabs are bad. I say, no, we don't hate people. We hate action. We hate the terror. But between you and me, to find a good Arab, as we said today in Judea and Samaria, it's a very difficult thing because they are brainwashing the children when with money of the international communities who are sponsoring UNRWA schools and TV programs who are teaching to kill Jewish people. So we need to start from that, to teach them real...
So we take over the educational system again?
Why not? What do you mean? First of all, sponsor the educational systems who are teaching them peace. cut finance to terror organizations. Start to do programs of people who want, in Gush Katif, we spend $10 billion to demolish homes and to bring them to terrorists who shoot on us missiles on Tel Aviv. Why not to use this money and to give the Arabs a good start money with a plane ticket to go to find their life in Europe maybe? I know that many of them will be happy of that. And to live here, only people who want to live in real peace and understand they are living in Israel. If you want to live here and you love Israel and you don't want to kill Israel, you can stay.
Mm-hmm. And citizenship, we'll see, down the road, residency, civil rights, but not necessarily the ability to destroy Israel from within through our democratic process.
Of course not. Every democracy needs to protect itself. Of course, everybody who is trying to demolish Israel and try to fight from inside is not welcome. It's simple than that. We see that also Europe is struggling with that now also, and it's a big cancer who is growing in these times in the countries. And Israel need to stand up. The real problem is us. Once we will understand who we are, what is our goal, what we need to do in this place, what is our connection to this land, and we will know to stand and to say, this is ours, this is our forefathers' land, this is Avraham Avinu, the Makpelah tomb, this is Shechem, this is to go back to our roots. The peace will come. Yeah. The real peace will come for us and for all of our neighbors all over the world.
Right. We're the indigenous people here, and we're happy to welcome others, but we're home, and we're not going anywhere. Yeah.
So the first steps, I think, for everybody who is listening to us, it's to join us. Be in touch. Go to Nati Rom page. I hope I will have time to answer everybody. NatiRom. Be in touch. WhatsApp is the best way to contact me. 972-52-566-5660. Said you need to add me to your contact list to send me your name and where are you from and that you want to be added to the list, and we will add you. And come to visit next time you're in Israel. Come to visit us in the heartland.
Yeah. There's absolutely nothing like the power of place. There's nobody that I've ever brought to Judea and Samaria who hasn't said, wow, this is totally not what I expected, and it suddenly opens their eyes to what's really going on here.
It's amazing. Once you pass the barriers of the media and the big lies, and people are in connection, everything, it's so simple. People have a lightning. They see who we are, they see the place, they see what we are working for, and this is something that I worked for in the last years to do. Because in the last years, we didn't do enough to connect our brothers and sisters all over the world. And this is something we need to cry for and to act, and to connect more and more people to our truth.
Yeah. Well, we see that. We see that there are Jews around the world that don't feel connected to Israel. It's not a priority for them. And that's so sad, because this is theirs as well. It's not just ours. We want to share it with everyone.
It is very, very sad. And it's every time I go, I am trying to bring my brothers and sisters back to the Holy Land. And I hope it will come in a good way, in a sweet way, not that they will be kicked out, but they will want to come. And we see that some things are changing, and I hope more and more things will happen, and quicker than we think.
Thank you so much, Nati Rom. Your phone is buzzing, and I know you have 1 million people that are trying to get a hold of you since you give your WhatsApp number to everybody. So I really thank you for carving out space here. And everybody, I really recommend that you sign up and you get these packages every month. It's a surprise from the heart of the world. It's really something else. It's a beautiful thing to do on every single level. And sometimes we do things and we think we're doing them for someone else, and we find that the real recipient of what we did was us in the end, because we get back so much more than we gave. So again, Nati Rom, thank you so much. Eve Harrow, Rejuvenation on the Land of Israel Network. Thank you to Ben and to Tabitha. And everybody else, be in touch with me, eve@thelandofisrael.com. And take care, everybody. Have a great week. Goodbye for now.
In the year 2048, Israel will have 20 million citizens. 20 million in this small country, and 15 million of them will be Jewish, because in Israel you remain Jewish.
This is Gil Hoffman, host of Inside Israel Today, here on the Land of Israel Network. Listen to my interview with storied Israeli general turned Likud Knesset candidate Uzi Dayan on my show, Inside Israel Today, here on